Eden Militao. Carvajal. It's Carvajal's cross. Rodrigo. Oh, extraordinary.
Yeah. Welcome to another episode of the CrossAndNod podcast. CrossAndNod pod, we are back, guys. Another week, another episode. Whole team is here again today. OG, Dave. It's another episode of the CrossAndNod podcast, and we are delighted to have you here. How you guys doing? How's the spirit? How's the energy? Wait, before you get you guys talking, get everyone flowing. You know, Happy New Year once again. Obviously, the second episode of the year. Hope you guys are following us on all our socials. Before we get into it, before everybody starts talking, you know, Madrid had a defeat, you know, before we recorded the last time. So, you know, our donkey of the day has to be OG because, you know, his team lost.
Fun, man.
His team lost. And
They lost already.
They lost to Villarreal. They were outplayed, outran, everything.
Out everything.
You know, meanwhile, Arsenal didn't win as well, but at least they did not lose. You know, they didn't lose, they didn't concede. So they played a goalless draw. They're about to kick off again tonight. United, on the other hand, you know, 7 consecutive games on the spin. You know, what can I say? Rashford in the form of his life. So it's all good over here. So I just want to make it known. This pod, I'm the king of this pod. Seeing as, you know, Arsenal drew. And
for now.
But for this episode is what I mean. This episode is mine. Well, another episode might be yours, but you know, you are the joke of the town. You are definitely the joke of the town. You're all white, don't stain. Los Blancos stain.
Bruh, very bad.
I think Barca
3 points
Barca
clear
is
now.
like how many points clear now? Okay, 3.
After their win yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah.
If Barca win this league, okay.
What will happen? How they win the league? Are they not a team? Are they not a competitive team? After they win the league, what's the issue?
I think it will be interesting, Sha. It will be a lot of plaudits to be given to Xavi from me if they win that league. Though,
If you allow Xavi, as bad and terrible as Barca has been this past couple of years, if they win that league, it is a big shame on Madrid's part, to be fair.
How would it be a
But
big
that's
shame?
my opinion.
But how would it be a big shame? What do you mean? What would make it a big shame?
Okay, think about like 2000 and was it 7 or 8 till like 2013 or something.
Yeah.
When Barca was on top,
Yeah.
they dominated. Like that was the period where Madrid was chopping and changing
10, they run
managers.
10 leagues in
Do you know what I mean?
12
Like
years or
exactly.
something.
That's my point.
Yeah,
But now that like Madrid is on top, they will now allow Barca with a weaker squad, a weaker manager. Like if Barca wins the league, it's not.
I don't think you can really say you know that Barca has a weaker squad. Yeah, I don't think you can just say that you know unhanded. Say they have a weaker squad. I don't think so. I think
Do you know the bad press? The bad press that has surrounded Barca over the last, like there was a point where they couldn't buy players.
Are we talking about like branding, perception, or what is actually football? Are we talking football?
Yeah.
Exactly. We're talking football. There are a lot of talented players. Decent is underhanding it, to be honest. Barcelona have.
So Madrid cannot dominate.
Barcelona had more players in the World Cup than any other team in the world. After Barcelona was City, Barcelona players are internationals. They had more players in the World Cup than any other club in the world. You can't just say they have a weaker squad than at all. They have one of the best squads in Europe.
When I say they have a weaker squad, I'm relating
I know it's in
to
comparison to
Madrid.
Madrid. Yeah, but even in comparison to Madrid. Yeah, but even in comparison, first of all, they have more bodies. You know.
Yeah, bro, but Madrid, we don't have a good right back. We don't have a good left back.
Oh man.
Yeah. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to
We
hear.
don't have backups.
Excuses. Drop them excuses in advance. Drop those excuses in advance so that when you eventually lose the league, you say, "Oh, we didn't have a good right back. We didn't have a good left back."
I'm not even supposed to be saying anything. You lost, so lost shot it.
Bro,
Whatever he says is right. Whatever he says is right. Yeah, talk in your pride.
Don't worry.
All those 14 Champions League, talk that in. You lost, bro. Life. Oh my God! But how are you feeling? Are you an Arsenal fan? You won. Enough bantering on Madrid. How are you feeling about your club before we get into,
I
what we have for
feel
today?
I'm disappointed. I was disappointed by the result, but I mean, I can't complain too much. We
Where
moved.
did you
It
feel that you
happened.
lacked, in terms of the edge? Because sometimes I look at a game, especially if it's my team, and I say, oh, if this person had done this better, because obviously you've been watching your team and you know the areas where you
Yeah,
probably
so
excel
it was
exactly. So
basically
yeah.
yeah, it was basically lack of options. Yeah, so we kept trying to like break them down the same way, and it wasn't working. And like, if that same week, Chelsea played City, and it was the exact same situation. City was like trying to break Chelsea down, but I even think Chelsea even played better in the first half. But the difference between City and Arsenal was City had 160 million pounds of talent to bring on at halftime, and Arsenal was just. I think we brought on the defender as opposed, So that was where I felt like we lo- we didn't lose actually.
I
That's why I
feel,
felt like we didn't have enough to like beat
but
Newcastle.
it could be argued that on the pitch, because you said like City had 100 and something on the bench they could bring on, but on the pitch, what you have outvalues what Newcastle has, so you should be able to break them down. You do have
So
better players than they
it's
do.
never when I mentioned the value, I wasn't even speaking about like in terms of like
No, but
the
it
things
speaks to
on the pitch.
quality.
I was thinking in
The
terms of
value
like
speaks to quality.
so when I said that value for City, I was saying it relative to Arsenal. Do you get?
Yeah, yeah.
Not relative to Chelsea that they were playing with, or not Arsenal relative to Newcastle that we're playing with. So I was saying like City had 160 million pounds of talent on the bench that they could bring on that actually changed the game for them because those two
Yeah,
guys scored.
yeah, I get you.
And then
You're
like
right.
Arsenal didn't have the same. Do you understand? We brought on a defender that we're trying to score. We are bringing on a defender.
Newcastle were
So
very rigid, to be honest. They have the best defense in
yeah,
the league, and
they're a
they
very
showed
good
it.
defensive team now, and
Very,
it's very surprising. And
very.
you know what was even more surprising? Like that was Newcastle played City, they went toe to toe with City. They played Chelsea, they went toe to toe with Chelsea. They played Spurs at Spurs, they beat Spurs. But then they came to Arsenal and they started playing around football. Not like
Yeah,
I'm
they did the
complaining, but
same thing
like
with United. I
it was
think
very
they pick their
surprising.
battles though. I think they pick their band. They do that
It was
very
very
wisely.
surprising that
They do that
that was
very
how they set
wisely
up.
because
But
they did it
I
with
mean,
United
I
too. The
guess
United game too was 0-0 with the better team, but it was just a draw. And at the end of the day, like it's those kind of draws that are like, to be honest, they deserve the draw in terms of Newcastle's perspective. You can say, oh, we should have won the game, but Newcastle deserved the draw. And I think that was like the same thing with the Newcastle Arsenal match too. In terms of like Arsenal probably should have won the game, but like Newcastle deserved that draw.
yeah. The draw was a fair result.
You get like if you want to speak, I understand from your own perspective, you'll be like, we should have won that game, but like they played for a draw and they tried. Anyway, United, from my perspective, we won. Keep winning. I like the spirit around the team right now. So I'm really happy with that. You were going to get into the referees at the back of your match. Yeah, Dave.
So like at the beginning of that game here, when I saw the way the referee started dishing out yellow cards, I felt it affected the rest of the game in the sense that like he lost control of the game early on.
Yeah.
And then I was wondering why did the FA or PGM or whoever appoints this referee, why did they appoint a relatively new referee to a top of the table clash, a game that had like so
High
much
stakes
riding on it?
match.
Typically you would see either one of those experienced guys, Oliver, Andre Marina, Anthony Taylor, you know what I mean? But then I checked this out, the man league guy. This guy has only referred like 58 matches. That's like he's out to 2 seasons of games in the Premier League, and it was apparent that this guy is not it. Very early on, he started dishing out yellow. He got to the point in that game where every foul was a yellow card, and this is even to both teams. Like this is me being fair. Like there were some yellow cards that Newcastle didn't deserve that they got. There were some that they were supposed to get that they didn't get because apparently in the first half he had already dished out too many and he was trying to now like control himself.
Yeah, I think he lost control of the game. I think he lost control.
It begs the question that like, how did these people assign these referees? What's the process? What do they look at?
I think, okay,
Yeah.
if I want to play devil's advocate a bit, from their perspective, yeah. Andre Marina, Anthony Taylor, I think Oliver and Taylor are probably the best referees in England. I think like those two edge the rest. And those guys, at some point, were madly in terms of this was their first big game. So at the end of the day, like, you do have to bet these people in, like that experience for you to go round. You can't just say, okay, only these guys are going to take over the top games. And then when they retire, these other guys, at what point do they now take over the big games? So at some point, they do have to take over these games, You obviously, you hope for a better performance, because I agree with you. I think he let the game slip. There's this saying of, as the referee, you had the great game when you're invincible. People can really even notice that you're there, but then your authority still stands. But when you're already trying to be the star of the show, you've probably not had a good game as a ref. When you're the star of the show. So, I agree with that, but at the same time, like, these guys need it. I think football, especially from fans, we expect some kind of unreal level in terms of, like, VAR, for example. I think sometimes VAR is unjustly judged, because the truth is, statistically proven, due to VAR, more goals have now been scored that wouldn't have been scored if there was no VAR technology. But I think people have this idea that it's supposed to be perfect. There's nothing that would be perfect in terms of from the refereeing, from the technology.
But Caesar, like, just to that point that you just made about VAR, the point of VAR is because the referees on the pitch are not perfect.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's to assist.
Yeah, even for example, that penalty shout that Arsenal had where Gabriel was dragged down in the box. I understand that the ref might miss something like that. But then why on earth will the VAR miss calls like that? Do you know what? I understand that, yeah, no one is perfect, but the entire concept of VAR.
The question is this: has the VAR made the game better? Do you think it has made the game better?
That's very
tricky. Because that's the question. Because the question is, I understand what you're saying. Like, they didn't call that decision. What about all the decisions they called? Because without VAR, none of the decisions will even be called. So if they have increased the number of decisions that are being called, okay, like there was this stats that I read before the World Cup about 40 plus goals that the VAR has awarded that wouldn't have been awarded otherwise, and 4 that they missed, that they didn't call. Obviously, there are some that is like, oh, you can put in the gray area where it's like, oh, this one, the VAR due to interpretation, that type of thing. But that's refereeing. That's the game. Interpretation is always different. Even when it's not a VAR decision, it can be an on-field decision. This ref says this, in another match, this ref says this. So that one is already in the air in terms of the ambiguity of certain decisions.
Caesar.
Yeah.
I beg. I feel talk now. My club news, I know keep person.
You know me now, talk now.
Yeah. Just stay silent, please. Just be observed. But for real, man, this VAR thing, yeah, I think the issue is why there are so many negative comments about VAR is that we keep forgetting that FIFA or whatever the bodies behind these decisions, they still want the game to flow as much as possible. That's why they have this clear and obvious rule that they always see, like clear and obvious. Like for VAR to fully intervene, like the situation of Gabriel being dragged down in the box now, I guess they could have interpreted it that, well, maybe the ref saw that and said that it's not so obvious, it's not so blatant that they had to intercede. That's just my take on all this VAR thing. But for sure, I feel like VAR has made the game better. Like no context about that. Caesar, you can come in also.
Yeah. But now you've made the conscious effort to allow yourself to understand that, to be honest, yes, VAR has improved the game. There's something you won't agree with, it's normal. But I think if we are to do a poll, maybe we should try this out on our social media, try and do a poll and see if people agree whether VAR has made, the game. Because I think most people will say no, but that's just due to the way it is branded. VAR, I'm saying. Like when you hear an ex-player say, oh, I don't like this, it makes the game this thing, it makes people not celebrate. To me, that celebrating is bullshit. It's a lie.
Bullshit.
You understand? But when you hear someone of influence say that, and the decision that was made was against your team, you tend to, just go with that flow, and you hold that resentment against, VAR. I remember when goal line technology was going to come into football. And obviously I was watching football before going like technology. And in my head, just because of what the media was preaching to me in terms of technology will ruin football. In my head, I didn't want that. I didn't want goal line technology. I was like, no, why do they want to bring this in? Why do they? Obviously, I was young at this time, but when they brought it, I just realized that why was there ever a clamor for there not to be goal line technology? I can't believe that there was even a clamor for there not to be, because it makes so much sense.
Goal line technology is like more accepted because it's very definitive.
Yeah, but it wasn't even accepted when it was coming. I understand what you're saying. It is actually more definitive,
like
and
right
that's why it could be assimilated. But before they brought it in as well, there was that, do you want to bring technology into football? But like, it worked out fine. And I think VAR is also like doing well in terms, even statistically it's proven he's doing well, but fans just have that sentiment already in their head. That, oh, please, it kills the game. Oh, it does. It makes the game more fair. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
It might not be 100% right. It needs work. Like sometimes I feel the VAR does re-referee games. Like they start paying the referee of the game because there are certain decisions that, okay, tell the ref to go and look at it. You don't make decisions.
Example.
Yeah.
Martinelli's goal against Man United.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
They actually even came back to apologize for that. They did. The PGLM, whatever. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. I don't really know the name of that corporation, but they did come out.
PGMOL.
Yeah, they did. And I hate when they do that apology.
Professional game.
What's the meaning of that?
League or something like that.
And it's always very low key when they come out to say, oh, we got something wrong. Very low key. They'll just make one, statement that will come out through the media. It's not even like there'll be a face that will say, oh, da. They'll just bring out the statement. I'm like, now wow. That they've offered their apologies to United after this. I'm like,
I do have an answer for David though, as to how when referees are selected for match here. So it's not just a function of availability. According to the Premier League website, it says the referee's experience, their current form. So like you might have been wondering why didn't they put Oliver or Anthony Taylor in charge of that game, but maybe Anthony Taylor and Oliver have been making some horrendous decisions in the few weeks in the lead up to that game. Also, they made the decision based on which team the referee supports and forthcoming games that the referee will manage. So, like, it's a mix of all these factors. And like Caesar said, like, even the Anthony Taylor that is experienced and all that, he has to start somewhere, So, maybe that's why Marina was put in charge of the game. Madly.
Yeah, I like that dialogue. Yeah. And I understand their stipulations and everything. I think it's a lot deeper than obviously the average fan will see it. You would complain from the point of view of your club and how everything went. And at the end of the day, he didn't have a great game, to be honest. But I think in general, though, fans are also too hard on ref. Because we never look at it from a ref point of view. We've played the game.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Even if it's not at a professional level, we've played the game. So we always look from either fan perspective or player perspective. We rarely ever look from being the mediator of the game. Rarely ever. So always very
refs actually have a very difficult job. This one I speak from experience. Like I've tried to refer games in Nigeria, like uni games, and I can imagine like if uni games are that heated, I can imagine what the refs are going through on the Premier League stage.
Screaming.
So like
give props to refs.
They give them money to check their salary.
Yeah, they're giving them money, but they deserve that. I don't think money should be.
No. When you said props, like money is a part of props now. Like, so,
but like they receive a lot of stick from fans, so fans should reward that stick with clout.
It's a thankless task. That's just it's been a ref, at least from the fans, from the media itself. That's why I like the whole Premier League, and they always have this retired ref to explain decisions and all of that, just to like get some balance on the justice scale,
Two quick things here. Number one, those retired refs that come, I don't know, these guys are so media trained. They would pick their own suitcase they would never go against what the ref like they would never go against the refs at the end of the day.
Even if they do go against, they'll do it in a way that you have to be very clever to pick it up. They won't just blatantly say, they will never make it seem like, oh, this guy is bad. Never. Even when it's a crazy decision, they can even say, I don't agree. But then they'll give you a reason why he made that decision. They'll defend his point. Which is good, to be honest.
He must have seen that.
I understand that solidarity.
Yeah, man.
amongst them.
That's there.
Yeah,
The second thing I wanted to say, I listened to an interview, this guy's interview, Anthony Taylor's interview with High Performance Podcast, and he made a good point that there are some decisions within the game that referees make that are actually advantageous to whichever team it is. But fans never ever remember those ones.
yeah.
For example, a referee might give a good advantage and then the team scores. No one ever gives credit to the referee after
And
the
that's
game.
what I mean about looking
But-
from the point of view of the ref.
But the moment the ref makes a bad decision that
That's
affects
when they are
his team,
highlighted, exactly. And that's what I mean by the
Headline
props.
news.
And that's what I mean
Yeah.
by props. Like when the ref has a good game, and I won't lie to you, me too, I was guilty of this. It's just in the last 2-3 years that my football brain, in terms of watching, matured to the point of me looking at it from the ref's point too. Like there's so many point of views to watch a game. It's crazy. And I learned that also from rewatching games. It's when I started rewatching games I realized that, damn, like, okay, maybe if I just have an eye cam, I'm only watching this player. I don't realize this whole game is different when I'm only watching this player. So, but I think most fans, their football brain does not develop. It does reach a certain level and it stops, and then the media and headlines ruin it and goes, and that's just what they see. So, yeah.
well, another issue. Well, is this a refereeing issue or a football issue or a Premier League issue? I wouldn't even know. Is the fact that the timing of the game. So I saw it start after the game that the ball was only in play in Arsenal Newcastle for like less than 45 minutes
I'm not
out of
surprised.
90 minutes.
Not surprised.
And obviously, like,
we were playing for sure. Like,
yeah, exactly. I understand that
Newcastle game and
Newcastle,
crazy.
they contributed to that, but on the referee's part and on the Premier League's part, Caesar, remember at the beginning of the pod where we started recording podcast where we spoke about like, how much time they were adding World Cup referees were adding on to the end of the game.
Yeah, and then why?
Where if you notice at the beginning of the refs, at the beginning of the games of the World Cup, you will see 14 minutes at a time,
Yeah.
10 minutes at a time, 11 minutes at a time. But what did you notice towards the end of the World Cup? 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Because teams realized that it was futile to waste time. And I recall at the same time that like during the World Cup, the Premier League, I read one circular from the Premier League that no, we're not going to adopt the World Cups.
They can't, to be honest. I know reasons
system.
why, due to scheduling, due to like money. There are lots of things why that I can attest to and understand why they would do it. They wouldn't do it like that in terms of the time.
But then it begs the question that if the ball is in play for less than 45, that's even less than an half. Sorry, than a half of football. Then you begin to think, how could is there any other way we could try to make this better where fans actually come
that's
to
really a tough
watch these
one,
games,
I think
actually
that's a
get
tough one.
value?
They
Do you know what I
value.
mean?
They do, because like the Newcastle fans will tell you they got good value for their money. Because when I
Arsenal
talk about
fans didn't
this
get
thing,
good value for their money.
but that's on us now. That's not what I want to say. It's on us now to try
Yeah.
and stop Newcastle from allowing the game to go that way. It's not easy. It's easier said than
No.
done. But it's Newcastle
Caesar,
that
that's where
wants to
you're
play
wrong.
that way.
It's on the referee who is the mediator of the
But what do you
game
think the referee can do?
to
What
stop
do you think
Newcastle
because these
from
guys
doing-
are really good in game
Exactly,
management.
that's the question.
Exactly. So
Like,
tell me what
that's
do
the
you think the
question.
referee
So,
can do?
see, I'm not against what Newcastle did. They did what they could within the rules to
Bro,
win
if
that,
you add
to
20
get a draw out of
minutes,
that
and
game.
that same 20 minutes that you added, I did the same time wasting I did before in the 20 minutes. What will you do? You won't sleep here. You blow the whistle at some point. I can manage the
No,
game to
that's-
the point that the ball is not in play, but
Caesar.
time is going. Go on.
See, that's why like, what you just said is the reason I made the point at the World Cup where at the beginning, the other times were like 14, 15 minutes, 11 minutes, 10 minutes. But towards the end, it dropped to like
Bro, that's the
3,
World
4,
Cup.
5
It's easier
minutes.
for you to do that in a
So-
competition where calm down. The
Yeah,
more teams,
the
more
point
teams that are
I
progressing,
understand,
the more
that's
teams that want
right.
to win. They are different from. There's something
Yeah.
that's set up that how I
But the
am playing is
point
how I
is-
am playing. Period.
Caesar, let me finish making my point. I understand, you're right. But the point I'm trying to make is, if there's that awareness that if you waste time, it gets added on. Over time, teams will stop trying to waste time and the
don't
ball
agree.
will actually flow better.
I don't agree.
Do you
I
understand?
don't
I don't
think
agree
so.
with that. I don't agree with
I
that
don't
because
think
that
so,
wasted
bro.
that is deliberate. From a manager's point of view, that is how I want my team to play. OG, go on though.
Dave, you know a team can waste 30 minutes of. Would they add 30 minutes after 90 minutes? Is that possible?
As in,
It's not possible now. They cannot add 30 minutes, 20 minutes. Max for World Cup where we see now, I think 11 or 12 or so. I think there was 14.
That 14
So
was because the guy was injured though. There was a very long stoppage and VAR in that 14. Yeah.
So like no matter how much time teams waste, bro, they can't add all of it back. They can't just add all of it back.
Though,
it's up to you to find it. So it's part of the game, man. Like it's part of the game.
But understand what Dave is saying. It should be measured, Sha. Try and reduce it. Obviously, it can't be taken away. It is game management. But putting all these policies can reduce.
For the most part, I agree. I agree with all of you are saying. But in 1960, when there were no yellow cards and red cards, it was part of the game. You know, let me finish. In wherever time, before goal line technology, like we mentioned earlier in this episode, it was part of the game.
Yeah.
Before VAR, it was also part of the game. But these were things that evolved. Like, we need to start thinking about how can we, David Dean was like former vice chairman of Arsenal, for those that don't know. He was saying, I was listening to a podcast the other day and he was mentioning that, okay, let's try to cap games at 60 minutes, no more longer 90 minutes, and stop the clock. You know, like, let's just start trying to think about ways to.
Yeah, but let me now tell you where
solve the problem.
That is
calm down, let me finish. Don't let us just say, oh, it's part of the game and allow the problem to persist. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm sure, like, of course, every solution we have
there's a thin line between what you are saying and completely changing the game. At the end of the day, we want to make the game better, not completely change the game. We want to maximize what we're getting, not completely change it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Football has its own natural evolution, and then we are adding things to it. So what you are calling for, in terms of let's go so drastic now and revolutionize the whole thing, can ruin the game. It can. There's a very thin line between that, though. Between, add this there, enforce this there. At the end of the day, it's game management now. Like that stopping of the clock thing.
Let's leave it to my legend Arsene Wenger, the FIFA's head of global football development, to sort out all those ones. Let's continue with the pod.
You say that legend. Almost forcing the club will be a slippery slope. I can't even lie, because you can't take all these gimmicks out of players themselves. Have their gimmick. They want to be the show. They want to be
in fact, no, bro, not even that. It's not even that. Look at it from a business point of view. Let me give you an example now. Forest are playing, Brentford are playing, Spurs and Arsenal are playing simultaneously, and they're playing at home. This is all in the London area. So now there are times, let's say there are matches, because they put all these things into consideration when they set up the time for the games. Okay, so people take this train, so from this time to this time, this place will be busy, this time to this time. Now when it's so jam-packed where nothing is structured anymore, you don't know what time this game will finish, when this will leave, because it depends on what happens at the game. Like normally, you know that at most add extra 30 minutes, those fans have left that place. No matter what happens in that game. You understand?
The club thing comes from basketball, where it's like one team in each city. They are not really playing multiple games.
Like that one, the time cap we are giving for the game will increase drastically.
I
don't think that needs to be done, because what you are trying to do is reduce it.
I'll say we're gonna work on that.
That was funny, man. That was funny. I've been loving our conversation so far. If you guys are rocking what we're saying, just mention us. If you agree, disagree, we'll set up that poll, Sha. We'll set up that poll about
for sure.
Yeah, but you guys can just chime in on whatever you feel on what we are saying. I just have really one more, to be honest, and I think a lot of what we've been saying before kind of in a way ties into this. But OG and I have personally been having a discussion about Darwin Núñez, and he has been rightfully roasting Núñez.
I don't think you could get impressed with that Núñez goal. I
wasn't really. The goal was calm. It was a good goal, but he even shinned it, to be honest. He shinned it. But
he shinned it?
He shinned
it. I didn't even know he shinned it.
But you've been roasting him, and I understand the roast, because he has not lived up to expectation and all of that. But, there's still time. But I'm just trying to ask, where do we draw the line in terms of banter? I'm a Man U fan, and my players are heavily bantered. Being the biggest club in the world, obviously, comes with the territory. But I always feel like there's sometimes where it crosses the line of Like, calm down. Like, these people are human beings. I don't think fans see these players. We don't humanize them. It's not only players, just celebrities in general. We really don't humanize them. And we always back it up with, he's collecting 20,000 a week. So, so I think
Don't be so.
no, it is so. It is so because I'm collecting what I'm generating for this company. That does not mean the human respect and rights that I have should be thrown under the bus. Because no, I'm still a human being. I still deserve this respect.
I'm going to say one thing now. In respect of Darwin Nunes, I've been roasting him a lot, but just on the personal level.
Your own is not. Your roasting is not. Your roasting is not what I'm calling out. Though I'm going to make a real example.
I know you're not calling it out. I know you're not calling it out. But I'm not saying even as I roast him so much, he has had 9 goals in his first 23 games or something. Salah had 8 goals in his first 23 games. Mane's own was 10 goals. So on the grand scale, he's not doing so bad. It's just I see the quality of chances that he gets. I see the way he takes shots, the way he just
finishing has been
the post is his finishing has been really poor. That is what I'm roasting.
No, for sure, no doubt.
Yeah, sure.
You're adjusting that, but the line. No, wait, Dave.
Caesar,
I want to just make the distinction clear in between what OG is saying, which is I think is okay. That's part of the game. You can criticize him for not killing the chances he's killing, and if you're a rival club, you can use that to drag him. But then it's different when a corporation is doing that. Like the Maguire talk in the Parliament of Ghana, that just shows you the way African government is very backward anyway. But that was very, very, very smelling on their part. That was disgusting. That was disgusting. Is Harry Maguire? We're talking of state policies and people's lives are at stake, and you're dragging somebody else's work and what he's doing into no, that's wrong. Domino's Pizza using Darwin Nunes' picture to promote their brand. Yes, they used this picture and said, if you don't get your order tonight, this is why you didn't get your order. This is the guy we have delivering it. Like that's some troll football shit.
Someone on that marketing team needs to get it crazy, man.
That's some troll football shit. Like where do we draw the line and say, this is wrong? Like you shouldn't be. This has gotten to the extent where you are making money off dragging this guy's name. And I just feel like fans need to kind of take responsibility. We go overboard sometimes. I'm not saying us necessarily on this pod, but those fans in general. I see things on the internet and I'm like, Sometimes people say things about their players and I'm like, he's your player, right? Like he's still there. Like after you say this, you still want him to now wear that shirt and play with pride for you. I'm like, relax. Like you're a supporter, your job is to support.
Dave was about to call me the other time. What's up?
Go off, bro.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's probably a little bit overboard from Domino's Pizza. Good. But Caesar, when you think about it, if Troll Football posted it, would you have the same reaction?
No.
So the real issue is the fact that it was Domino's Pizza, right?
Yeah.
Accounts now. I feel like
a parody account is a troll account. This is what I do.
That is the account.
This is what I do exactly. Now let me now tell you if someone if Sky Sports posted, yes I know. But that's the bad.
I'm not trying to play devil's advocate. I agree with what you're saying for the most part, but I'm trying to play devil's advocate. Put myself in the mind of the social media manager or whatever that posted that thing for Domino's Pizza. And I'm sure the thing probably even generated a lot more.
For sure, for me to have seen it, for sure.
And it has paid off for them big time, no doubt, right? I mean, PR wise, maybe not, like I said, even negative PR is still PR. So, but it's I just feel like we shouldn't be too. Because at the end of the day, football, banter makes football.
Yeah, but then where do you draw the line? Because these are the same people that tell you mental awareness. Because you need to put yourself in the shoes of said person that you're jesting after. You need to put yourself in that shoes. Like, okay, at what point is this now a line to cross and be like, you know what? Okay, this is pushing it too far, bro. During the Liverpool Karius debacle, where he lost, them the Champions League to Madrid, where that happened, the kind of backlash that Karius will get from people I know. Like I don't know how his mentions was, but I can tell you it must have been a scary sight. It would have been a gory scene that night. And subsequent nights. Guy, the things people were saying, and I just look like, do you know that this guy did... They made it seem like he wanted to throw the game. No football player goes onto the field and thinks, I want to play a bad game today. Of course not. It gives them more pride than it gives you when they play a good game. I think people kind of forget that sometimes. Like, you are cursing him, cursing his generation, his family. Like, what does that have to do with banter? What does that have to do with football?
Yeah,
like, where do you draw the line?
That is absolutely not acceptable. It also happened with Saka, my star boy, Sancho, and Rashford in the last Euros where they got racially abused. So, like, I totally get it. It gets to a point where, like, it's no longer banter and it's now abuse or it's now discrimination and stuff like that. But on this particular Domino's Pizza post, I would say it's more banter. It's more. It leans more on the side of banter.
You can't banter. You are a Domino's Pizza. You are not true football. You are not in the football world.
Football, like
you are not. That's not what you are doing.
Or something.
Yeah,
that's just very out of pocket.
You're a business. You're a business. You're a brand.
Guys, I feel like I'm being too salty about it. Like, I get what you're saying, and it's like,
Okay. Let me give you an example. Now. You are Darwin Núñez here. Obviously, you had a bad game. You are being dragged. First of all, let me tell you how it is, because it depends on where you are being dragged and how you are being dragged, where you are being dragged. Let me explain what I mean. If you are listening on the radio now and they're talking on TalkSport about, he had a bad game, Now, the person on TalkSport will be out of order if he says, Darwin Núñez should be, on the flyer of just crack a joke about delivery and about how, it's terrible, and that will be out of order because that person is a professional. And this platform, the responsibility that your platform holds. It's different from us going with our own platform and saying it. Even though, obviously, what we're trying to do is also in the sports world. So we should actually treat him with more respect. But we can even be giving more leeway than a TalkSport, because TalkSport understand the power of their platform and the responsibility that comes with that. So that's different. And the same thing applies for Domino's. This is not a joke thing now. So if someone is going on air, the way you criticize the player has to be different from someone that is just doing it on the side of the road. That's counted. Now imagine that when Núñez is driving, he gets down, he goes to, let's say, Tesco. He wants to enter a Tesco. And at the front of Tesco, maybe there's a Domino's there. And a huge signboard there is Darwin Núñez dressed, just there. And then the statement of what they said. And that's their, joke for the day. Like, how do you think he'll feel looking at that? It's like, what the hell does what I do for Liverpool have to do with Domino's Pizza? Like, now you are even... No, it's not only that you're dragging me in the mud. You're using my name and my notoriety to make money. That's why it makes it particularly distasteful for me.
Yeah,
it's different.
I agree, you're right. Thinking about it, it was a bit too far on.
Imagine how a kid going to buy Domino's, just see that, be like, who is that? Somebody will be like, he's a joke man, he's a joke thing, Yeah, it's very.
But then think about it, he also
that's too far now.
No, I think, to be honest though, I feel like all of these things is... That's why, remember I asked at the beginning that, if Pro Football posted that, would you have mattered as much?
It's different. Pro Football don't have the same...
I know.
Yeah.
I feel you, but when you just look at it from a footballing angle and not being too, not socially conscious about it, right? You see that at the end of the day, it's not like Domino's Pizza or that guy that posted that thing on their team wanted it to become like a big deal. It was more in the football spirit of banter.
To have a negative effect on him. Is that what you are saying?
Effect on Darwin, yeah, exactly.
And to be honest, if you don't want it to have a negative effect, don't do it. How about that?
No. Yes, that's why I'm also. If pro football can do it, and you are fine with it, right? If Domino's Pizza does it, it shouldn't be too much of an issue on Darwin Núñez's part
because Domino's Pizza is not true football.
No,
I'm thinking of my point.
No, I'm thinking of it from Darwin Núñez's point of view now. It's not like it will.
Darwin Núñez, it's different.
Affect his mental health differently if pro football does it and if it's Domino's Pizza that does it. Do you get what I mean?
But it will. I'm telling you, it will. Let me give you an example now. Me being criticized. You feel me? As an artist, if there's a troll page that just trolls artists, and that is what that page does. If the page is at any point in time criticizing me, it is doing it because there's market value in my name. I'm not going to take it in a way of, I'll take it the same way if it now comes out that Native Mag, now use me as a troll. That's wrong because they are killing my money in a different way. What throw football is doing is upping my money. It's different. They throw. That's what they do. Like, even if they like you, they throw. They throw Ronaldo. They throw, like, you understand what I'm trying to say? But this is Domino's. Domino's don't regularly throw. They just stepped out of their bag to drag me down to bring. No, that's different. I wouldn't take it the same way I would take it as I would not.
I feel like you're probably taking it like more. It strikes a chord with you more because maybe like you're an artist, you're also in an industry where
exactly, it does.
Yeah, you're in the public eye and stuff, so you kind of have like a little bit more insight into being in the public eye and how these things affect.
100 because you guys don't humanize. No, I'm telling you.
But like, I feel like Darwin Nunez, like, it should be.
No, of course, as a player, you should have thick skin.
I'm trying to be careful here and not.
You should have thick skin.
And not be. I not dehumanize it, right? But like, I feel like it's part of the job. Yeah, I don't want to be insensitive. Like, I feel like, but on Darwin Nunez's part, things like this is part of the job.
There is a line. Like, that's just the point I want to. Because you said it's part of the job, but is it really? Like, really? Is that particular? You know, all the instances I've called out, are they really part of the job? At what point, like, is that line there?
So, I don't feel like this player that used to be.
Is there a line? Is there a line? No.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a line. There's a difference between banter and abuse.
And it's tied in into this age.
There's a difference between banter and discrimination. So discrimination was what
happened with them Rashford.
Sancho, Sancho, Rashford, Saka.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, yes, there's a line that should never ever be crossed. So there's also cyberbullying part of it as well, where you mentioned about Loris Karius. No, that's unacceptable.
She was mad.
You get what I mean?
Fans.
So, like where he's getting DMs, he's getting death threats, he's getting like. But the point I'm trying to make, I feel you. Like you're spot on. But the point I was trying to make is, these guys are in the public eye, right? And as with everything that's in the public eye, you can never satisfy everybody. So there should be a level of like thick skin
for sure
that you would, because no matter what you do. See, Alan is banging in goals day in, day out. Do you know what the narrative around Alan is? The past 2-3 games he has played, he didn't touch the ball more than once in the first 25 minutes. I'm like, this guy is a striker. He's caused what he's caused.
Ronaldo, I know they talk about this one. When Ronaldo, I know they talk about this one. He's a striker. All these things are starting with Ronaldo. When Ronaldo he's not effective. He does not touch the ball.
Let's go back on topic.
He only scores.
Let's go back on topic.
No, Alan.
So my point is,
different.
Alan, my point is, Alan would see this criticism or he would see all these trolls online. And I feel like because you should just accept it as part of the game.
For sure.
And not let it
No. Those things you can accept because they are part of the game.
Similar to how like this. I understand that this Darwin Nunez was proper banter. Even though it was from Domino's Pizza, which is kind of tricky to explain. Like I can't defend it. But I can also understand from the football fan point of view, like I'm not trying to take it too deeply. Do you get what I mean? I'm not trying to be too socially conscious about it. While I understand, and you're perfectly correct that like Domino's Pizza.
Okay, see the Sancho thing. See the Sancho thing. To me, the Lingard situation even better. Because Sancho, we don't really know what's going on. We can only speculate it's a mental thing. But I think that's a huge part of it. I think moving to Manchester United is the biggest club in the world. Moving to Manchester United, it has hit him different. Not everybody can undo, that type of transition.
Caesar.
Yeah.
Don't let OG hear what you just said, though. Manchester United is the biggest club.
One guy ain't dying, and the truth is that.
Don't let OG hear.
As I thought, no one can use my train of thought. Lingard, with the Lingard thing, yeah. I was using Sancho and Lingard. Sancho, we don't even know yet, but Lingard came out later and said all the things he was going. Guy, what Lingard was going through, they would have made movies over what that Lingard was going through in his personal life. That was off the pitch, but like at that point in time, you don't know, and then you just criticize the player, just say some wild shit that you don't know that. If we don't take up the onus as for fans. I'm not even saying media, because sometimes people blame media, but it's not the media. The media don't even go as crazy as these fans do sometimes. Like, at what point do you not say as a fan, do you know what? Let me be conscious enough to be like, to take responsibility and be like, make I know they overdo this thing. Like, especially when I'm directing it to the player. If I'm saying it in jest with my mates in the bar, that I know that this convo is not going anywhere. It's different from me now going online and spreading. But these days, people just go online and say whatever things they cannot even say with their own mouth, like face to face. A lot of these people, the people they criticize, they'll see them face to face and they suck. So it's wild.
For sure.
So it's wild.
For sure.
You feel me? So like, and I don't like that. That's some shit. I don't. I'm sorry for using foul language. Maybe I'll bleep that. Man.
Sorry guys.
I went wild a bit there. I went wild a bit there. So I'm like,
You go censor him now. You go censor him.
That was a bit wild. But yeah, Sha, like, come on, man. Let's draw a line. Let's pick it up and be like, you know what? Banter. Let banter be banter. Let the rest be the rest. Okay, let me give you an example. People go into the Ronaldo thing, and not because they actually really care for whoever Ronaldo allegedly, assaulted way back when, but because they believe Messi is a better player than Ronaldo, they'll tag him a rapist. That thing's wild. I would understand it if you truly believed it was so because of the details of the case, but nothing about the details of said case. I know this is probably a very sensitive example to use, but to me it's perfect one to use. The fact that it is sensitive, because there's nothing about the details that came out of the case can make you say absolutely without doubt that this guy is a rapist or a assaulter or whatever.
Yeah.
But some people use that as banter. I know someone personally, it's my guy that uses that as banter, and I'm always trying to call him out on it, that bro, you are taking this thing too far. Because you love Messi does not mean you should label somebody this because of what was alleged. You don't even care of the details of the case. This person is not, because he doesn't give a fuck about the victim. He just wants to label this guy this because he's claiming goat. And I'm like, come on now. Like, when is that line drawn that you realize that, okay, this has absolutely nothing to do with football? Because it literally has nothing to do with football. So,
yeah.
This is just a wake-up call to you guys out there. You guys listening, exactly, because I was about to say, it's all of us. You guys listening are probably guilty of all these things too. I call myself out on it sometimes to that more. Make the day easy. You want to be doing your own job and people be criticizing the way they're criticizing these guys. And I don't want to hear that bullshit of how much they get paid. That don't mean shit. Get your bread up. Not their fault. Say, get your bread up. Get your bread up. You feel me? Don't go to drag another one now. Go say he get back. Let's allow that, man. So that's my case. The defense rests.
Yeah. To be honest, prosecution too.
We all need to do better.
Oh, now maybe defense. Now you be prosecution.
The prosecution.
So yeah, you read the nail on the head. Last thing you said, just be more conscious about it. Like,
I said.
And not allowing,
We
not
get
crossing the line.
We get
I think that's like the major. Yeah, that's the major.
I won't lie, let me to just tell you guys, when I was a lot younger, this is years ago, I didn't really know much about football, but I liked it. I was already watching it. And it was doing, in fact, this is not too long, it's long, because this is like 09, 08. Messi time, Messi prime and everything. I hated him. I shouldn't have. Like, when I grew older, I understood better. No, because at that point, I didn't even know what hate was as a child. But I just knew that I had this feeling for this guy where I would just be outside playing, and because man, you didn't win that 09 Champions League, I'll just be like, I wish Messi could just break his leg. Like, I would really be willfully wishing this guy could break his leg. Like, why? What's going wrong? You feel me? Like, but I was trained it is wrong, but like the culture, the football culture, like, encouraged me, that I was around, encouraged me to do that.
To be fair.
You feel me? Until I got the conscious decision that nonsense with that. What has to do with ball? Say, make I
our ball houses. Where we watch ball. There's no culture of that. Just saying, stupendous.
Bro, that in my head, I'm not even understanding that I'm wishing that this guy is going to be amputated. Like, what thing he don't do? Like, he's just doing his job.
Yeah, bro. We all need to do better. That's the fact.
I swear, man. So yeah, man. United, keep winning. Madrid took the L. Arsenal can't. Let's see what Arsenal do in their next game.
I just want to say is that you guys
Not
are
London
quite
derby.
nice with the banter, because The day Arsenal will lose on this spot.
Yeah, it's
The
gonna
day
be
United will lose on this. I go come loaded. Loaded. With
Madrid will still lose more games. So
Do you know why? Because no one cares so much about. I couldn't care less about La Liga or whatever happens in La Liga. That's why the banter is light, bro.
I know what if you go to Champions League, it's going to be different gravy.
Exactly. Do you understand? If you're Champions League,
And you get
now
that
you
down,
will hear it.
Bro. In fact, the way I will start the pod
I'm
will be
saving-
different.
I'm saving my
The way I will
draft.
start the pod will
In
be
advance.
epic. Don't worry, when oh God, that's now what I'm cooking for you. I'm taking this point to another level, man. When Arsenal lose to United,
I'm banter proof. You can only banter me
do you know the funny thing?
if
Your
we didn't
banter
make
proof is
Champions
I am
League.
currently top of the league. That's wild to me. That is wild. What is that? If you now win league, they
I
don't look hold you now.
would
swear.
say it very confidently right now
never
that
win
Arsenal will
anything,
make top 4. That's the only thing I can say
Shit, that won't come
confidently.
be anything. Eh?
Bro, you made top 4 now as a Wenger. Stop.
As in, wait to be top
I
4.
can also say that Arsenal will win the Europa League.
So yeah, now.
So if you don't
Let me
achieve
see
any
you
of
do
those two
that.
things,
Let me see
Oh,
you.
yeah,
you have the
Where
license
man you
to buy
did
that.
it? Where man you
Not
did
for
it?
any other thing. Man, you. Okay.
No, yeah, no. Now that Europa will even cost you the league, safe. Now part of why you don't go in the ball. Anyway, let's just see. Let's see how it goes. The Cross and Nod podcast episode. Is this episode 3?
Episode 4, bro.
Wow, time. We're moving.
Time flies. As in, yeah.
We're moving. Okay, episode 4. Cross and Nod podcast episode 4. I'll allow OG to plug you into our socials. You can follow us and all of that. You know.
Yeah,
Thank you guys
we're
for
always
rocking
active
with
on
us.
Twitter. We're always active on Twitter at CrossAndNod FT. That's Cross and Nod. The tactics where all these small teams they use win. CrossAndNod FT.
Nobody
And then-
in Champions League. Stop, bro. Stop, bro.
Yeah, I'm also active on Instagram at CrossAndNod, no FT this time around. And of course, if you are listening on Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, don't forget to click the subscribe button.
Subscribe, rate us too. 5 over 5. We're not mad.
Yeah, man.
5.
Oh, well, I don't even mind, dude. I love you guys.
You are not the man. I better go. Don't mind this boy.
I am dead. I enjoyed this pod. I'm not going to lie to you.